Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be showing you guys how to make the kimono dress, and for that I'll be using this fabric. So you might need about 2.5 yards of fabric depending on the length of your sleeve. So to determine the amount of fabric you would use, just get your fabric. For me, I'm using uh, like a quarter. So to determine what you use is just your shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus your sleeve length. So whatever your shoulder measurement is, for me is 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8 plus the sleeve length. So and then your seam allowance, that's how so when you fold your fabric into 2, so this is 2 yards and quarter. So if I fold it into 2 now, and then like it's folded into 2. So guys, now that it's folded into 2, the next thing is to take the other folded end and place it this way. So now it's folded. So guys, now that I've folded it, I'll start making the mark to cut it. So the first thing to do is to check my shoulder measurement. So this is going to be the length. So remember what I said, you check your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So for me it's 16 divided by 2, that's 8. So 8 is going to be here, somewhere here. So the 8 is going to be somewhere here, and then the rest is now going to be my sleeve length plus my seam allowance. So I have 11 left. But if you check yours and you find that this will not be enough for you, you might want to fold your fabric more. Maybe for me, I'm using 2 yards and quarter. You might use 2 yards and half, depending on the length you want. So for me, I'm just going to, the next thing I'm going to mark is from the shoulder to bust measurement. That's going to be 10.5. It's actually 10, but I'm making it 10.5 because of the half-inch I'm going to take away from the top. So I'm going to mark that here. The next thing is your shoulder to waist, which is 17, but I'm making it 17.5, which will be here. The next thing is going to be shoulder to your hip. So that's going to be 24, but I'm making it 24.5 because of the half an inch seam allowance. So after marking this, the next thing you're going to do, so this is my 9. So my dress length is going to be 34 plus my seam allowance to fold the end, that's going to be 35. So I'm going to mark it here. So I have 4 lines here. I have the bust line, I have the waist line, and then I have the hip line, and then the length of the dress. So this is 10.5, 17.5, 24.5, and then 35 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to come here on the shoulder by the neckline. This is going to be the neckline. Mark 3 inches by 3 inches here. So 3 inches by 3 inches is what I have here for my neckline. Then I'm going to go back to this end here, mark 1.5 down. This is going to be the opening on the sleeve. So mark 1.5 down here, and then connect this point here of this 3 inches to this 1.5 here. If you have a ruler, that's better, you mark it this way. So I'm going to mark mine this way. And then the next thing you're going to do is to come down on your bust measurement. Come down first on your waist measurement. So the waist I'm working with is going to be, so the waist I'm working with is 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9, plus 1 inch is 10. So I'm going to mark that here. And then the hip, come down on the hip line. The hip I'm working with is 40, is going to be 46. So the hip I'm working with is 46 divided by 4, that's going to be 11.5. So I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it, so that's going to be 12.5, and I'll mark it here. So come down, mark that 12.5 also at the last line here, which is the length. So you connect this line down here, connect the waist to the connect the waist to the hip, and then the next thing you're going to do is come to the bust line. The bust line, the bust I'm working with is supposed to be 40 inches. 40 by 4 is going to be 10, plus 1 is 11. So I'm going to mark 11 here and connect it just like the way you would do your normal bodice, right? And then what I'm going to do now to cut the sleeve is I'm going to go from the, remember this is my waistline, this is my bust line. So from this here, I'm going to go up by about So I'm going to come up here by 3 inches. If you want, you can make yours 4 inches. I'm going to make mine by 3.5 inches on this line, from coming up from your waist up about 3.5, or you can use 4. This is now going to be the opening on my sleeve, because if you look at the picture, you'll find that it's the opening on the sleeve goes even up down to the waist, so it's open all the way. But remember, I think the sleeve on the picture is longer than mine, so I'm going to come up by about, let's say, 4 inches. So this is now my new sleeve opening, and mark this line here. So forget about this line, this is now my new line. Come down here by 1 inch on this here and curve it. So this opening now is my new sleeve opening. This here, this bust line doesn't count anymore. So what I did is come up 4 inches from your waist, and then go all the way, mark it straight, and then you have your curve here. Come down 1 inch on that same line, and then give it a curve here. Give it this curve here. So now I'm going to start cutting it out. So guys, another thing is to come down 1 inch on this neckline here. This is going to be my back neckline. This is going to be my front neckline. So I'm going to cut this out for my back neckline, and then I'm going to trace down the shoulder slants. After that, you're going to open up this side. Remember, you have one fold on this side. Just open it up, and then you're going to separate it. So you're going to separate the 2 pieces here. So I'm going to use this one for my back panel. So set it aside. I'm not going to cut any other thing on it. So this one with the chalk mark is going to be my front panel. So what I'm going to do now is to cut out the neck. The thing you're going to do is to come to the waist, mark about 7.5 inch, not 7.5, sorry, 0.75 inches or 1 inch here, and then you're going to connect from this very point of 3 inches here down here like an angle, and then taper it down to the end here. About from here I have about half an inch down here, but here I have about 0.75. So I'm going to cut this out now. So guys, I've cut this out now. I've cut it out. So guys, I'm going to go now and join the shoulders, join the side, and then fold the sleeve. So I'm going to join the 2 shoulders. This is the 2 front piece. So guys, this is what it looks like at the moment here. I've joined the shoulder, I've joined the side. So this is how I did it. First, you join the shoulder, the front and the back shoulder, right side facing each other. You join the shoulder, you come here, fold the sleeve all the way to the end here, and then you close up the armhole all the way down. So the next thing is, from the bottom of the fabric that I cut this long strap about 3.5 inches width, and then made it long enough. So this is what I will use to finish up the neckline. So from one end here, so what you're going to do is take one end of the piece that you cut, fold it into 2 this way, right? And then you're going to start from this end here, this one side of the front here, and just keep sewing it all. So you're going to start folded this way, and then you're going to start from this end here, one end here, and keep sewing it. So you're going to make a stitch all the way and come back round the neckline and finish up the other end. So guys, the next thing I did is to go ahead and cut another long strap of about 3 inches for this one. So what I'm doing with this particular one is I went ahead and folded the end, right? Like you would fold the finishing of your cloth. Fold it into 2 and then iron it down, right? Fold it this way, half an inch on this side, half an inch on this side. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be my loop for my rope. As you can see, I've gone ahead and made rope for it. So what I'm going to do now is just place this here. As you can see, this is where the flap of this. The next thing I'm going to do now is to take this the way it is and start sewing. So I marked about 16 inches down here, 16 inches down all around to the back. So what I'm going to do is to put this here, place it on this 16 inches and start making a stitch. So my top stitch is going to come on the 16 inches. Then the back, the end will just be here. So this here is starting before this. So when it comes around to the other, so I'm going to make it sew it up and down and come around back to this side, right? So when I come to this end, it's also going to end before this line here. So this is where it is going to end, before this placket here. So I'm going to just pass my rope inside this loop here. So I'm going to pass my rope inside this loop all the way around, and I've also folded the end here. It up, pass my rope. So the next thing I have to do is to go put in button here up till maybe somewhere here, and then put in my buttonhole on this side, and then close up the button. So that's basically it for this here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.